Hey everyone, and good evening. Thank you for tuning in, and thanks for joining us this evening. I want to be able to start this conversation right away. Please remember to share this video. This is not only informational, but educational, entertainment. I mean, this platform was created for whoever wants it, for all the entertainers, promoters, businesses, entrepreneurs, whoever wants to tell their story and to be able to share some insight into anything that's happening in our lives and in the world. So let us share our own stories and let us share whatever we have inside of us and to be able to communicate with people so that we can become better, a better community, a better system, and better persons. Tonight, I have the pleasure to interview two young gentlemen who are an inspiration, and they, with their ethics and their values and their morals, are admirable. They are the promoters of Angel City Continental and the owners of Local Queen merch. They'll be telling us their stories up close and personal. These are Joel and Cristian. Hi, boys.
Hi, Raul. How are you?
How are you doing?
We're doing good. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, this is super exciting. We never do things like this, so this is actually something out of our comfort zone in a good way.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Thank you for accepting, because I know that you're not used to being on the spotlight.
No, we prefer to be in the background, and we allow everything we do to kind of be in the forefront.
And the work speaks for itself. But because it's two of you, usually we have about 45 minutes to speak to our entertainers about their lives and what they do, etc. But in 45 minutes. But now there's two of you, so there's two stories to tell. And a lot of juicy information that I want everybody to know and that you all will share with everyone else. So I want to remind the viewers to please share the video. Make sure that everybody gets a piece of this story, because I believe this is going to be the only time that we get personal with y'all.
Yes, pretty much, yeah.
So also send your comments and your questions in the comments below. And at the end, if we have some time, we'll be able to answer any of the questions that our viewers have. So let's just begin with our first segment of the show. What do you think?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Let's go. So our first segment is back to basics. And you know what that means. You've seen the show before and you know how this works. So give me the basics.
My name is Joel Canales. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. I'm 34 years old. My full-time job is that I'm the director of global training for a luxury cosmetic brand. My favorite color is Dodger Blue. Go Dodgers. And now I live in Los Angeles.
Wait. What's your birthday? What sign are you? What's your favorite color?
My birthday is in November, so I'm a Scorpio. And like I mentioned, my favorite color is Dodger Blue.
I'm a little bit more boring. No, I'm kidding. So my name's Cristian DeLuca. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I'm 34.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm 34. My birthday's in December, so I'm a Capricorn. And my favorite color is red.
Red. So, and you were born in California?
I was. I was born and raised in the San Fernando Valley here in Los Angeles.
Do you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
For some reason, I got a little feedback, but it's okay. If you hear me fine, then we'll be okay. So you're from LA, and Joel is from Texas.
Yes.
You're 1,500 more, give or take, miles. You were miles in distance from each other, So tell me, how did you meet?
Well, to make a long story short, Cristian and I met through Instagram. And yes, Instagram, not anything else, through Instagram. I was a little bit of a creeper, and I was a little brave. One Christmas week, I was scrolling through the Explorer page, and I found his picture. And this was before direct messaging. So I noticed his picture. I thought he was very handsome, and I put my phone number on the comments.
Oh, you're that guy.
Yeah, the creeper.
Yeah, I was a little bit of a creeper, yes. But, I was determined to talk to him. So I put my phone number on his picture, and I refreshed the picture, and actually my phone number had disappeared. So I was a little scared that I had insulted him. But a couple minutes passed, and I got a text message. We text for about 6 months before we actually spoke on the phone or even met each other, because we lived in 2 different cities. So that's really how we met.
Cristian, is that the real story?
Well, I'll give you the detail, the juicy details. So he actually was living in Dallas, and I knew that he had a trip out here. I hadn't spoken to him for a couple of months, and one day, it was like the weekend after Easter in like 2013, some weird thing like that. I got a text message from him, and it was like, "Hey, I'm in LA. We should hang out." So I remember thinking to myself, like, the nerve this guy has. After a couple of months of not talking to me, he just all of a sudden wants to pop into my life, and I'm supposed to drop everything. So I sent him a text, and I said, "It's my friend's birthday. I have plans tonight. This is where I'm going to be. So if you want to see me, you come and see me here." So,
right.
he eventually ended up showing up to the party that I was at. It was kind of an industry party. And he showed up. At the moment he walked in, we locked eyes, and we just kind of hit it off the rest of the night. And then later on that day, when you go to industry parties, you don't really eat a lot, or, all you do is drink and hang out and kind of pretend that you're not hungry. And so we ended up going out to breakfast, a super late breakfast at Denny's, and we just sat there for hours talking, and the rest is history.
So you guys just progressively just got along, and your relationship just evolved, right?
We did. So that weekend I was working here in California, and we decided that we wanted to obviously continue talking. So every couple of weeks, either he would go to Dallas or I would come to California, and we would hang out and meet out. And that was for about a year. We did that for a year.
Wow, that's impressive. So you know what? Let's start getting to know each other. You guys, we're gonna start getting to know you in a deeper level. So how about we just start diving deep?
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
So Joel, I know that you come from divorced parents, and your mom remarried and had 2 daughters. So you lived with your sisters and your stepdad, and of course your mom. And your biological dad didn't have a very active role in your early life. On the other hand, Cristian is the oldest of 4, and your parents have been married for about 36 years, and they were very much involved in your upbringing. However, coming out for Joel was a lot easier than it was for you, Cristian. Can you tell me why?
Yeah, so for Joel, it was very much, he had the support of his parents, the support of his mom primarily, who continues to be very actively involved in both of our lives, and even now, she's very supportive, as are my parents now. But at the time, I grew up in a what you would call in an upper middle class family. I never, my parents were both serial entrepreneurs. My dad's a general contractor. My mom worked for the school district. They were heavily involved in my academics. And I think it was like, for me, coming out was a little bit of a traumatic experience. I think it would have broken anyone. My parents at the time, I had some pictures, not anything weird or strange. It was just simply somebody I was dating at the time had their arms around me, and my mom happened to be looking through my car for whatever reason, and she found them in the glove compartment, and she freaked out. So my dad showed up and basically, said, "You have 20 minutes to get all of your crap and get out of my house." And so I packed as much as I could into my car, and I didn't look back. And it took years and years and years to repair that relationship. Fortunately, now I happen to have my parents were also, we grew up Catholic, so religion definitely played a huge role in their decision. And I don't fault them for any of it now, but I do have their love and support, and we both have their love and support. So it's been a tremendous, change for them as much as it has been for us.
Absolutely. And I think what a lot of people don't know is that one of the first Christmas that Cristian went back home was actually with me.
Yeah.
So it was a big change, and his family has been always very supportive of us, and they're very loving. So we thank them for that.
My mom cooks on FaceTime with him. That's how bad it's gotten.
That's so good. That's very good to hear. But you actually did not go back home for about 12 years, right, Cristian?
I didn't. Yeah, it took a very long time. There was, I mean, coming from very highly religious parents and just not ever having that like great relationship with them was really difficult. And so my mom she's the type of woman that'll be like, oh, I see you're trying something new with your hair. Looks great. So it's always that fear of judgment. It was always that fear of like, how do I become the perfect son for my parents? It wasn't until I learned to kind of love myself in that regards. And it was kind of like, look, this is me. Whether you love me, you love me. Whether you don't, you don't. And whether you accept me, you accept me. And you're part of my life. And so I think that's really where the tides started to change, But I went through some really rough years of sleeping in my car, staying out all night, partying, getting into lots of trouble. It took a lot of falling down to really be able to stand up on my own 2 feet.
That's so it's inspiring to hear. And of course, it's the reality for many of us, that have lived through it, and also people that are going through the same thing now, and this is why we choose our gay family, right? Yep. To be able to push through our lives and continue to evolve as individuals. Joel, you did have the support of your mom, and that wasn't an issue for you in that aspect. However, you had a fear of coming out. You were fearful of being outed all the time, to the point that you've always had a passion for singing, and you were so afraid of pursuing it because you feared that you were going to be outed in school. Do you regret that decision of not continuing your singing career?
I don't regret it, because obviously I wouldn't be here today if my life had been different. My best friend and I joke around it all the time, because in middle school, she knew before I knew. And she said, I know you're gay. And we didn't like each other then. And when it was time for me to go to high school, I actually wanted to go to an arts magnet school. But they had always told me, if you go to that school and you're gay, you're going to come out. And I was scared of that. So I decided to go another direction into a law magnet. But it just wasn't the same. My passion for singing was there. So after my freshman year, I transferred over to the arts magnet. And I said, you know what, this is me. And this is what I love to do. And I'm just going to accept me for who I am and be happy. And although I didn't pursue a career in music, I still do it. I love it. And it's still in my heart, but I don't regret anything. Absolutely not.
Now Good. He just wins Grammys in the shower.
Yes, that's right.
Cristian, we have a question here, and for one of our viewers, actually, I think that's my husband. It is my husband, actually. He's asking, how were you able to mend the relationship after 12 years, and what caused your parents to accept it after so long?
It took a lot of, I think, as even with our relationship, I think the way we get through conflicts and the way we resolve them is really opening those lines of communication. I kind of had to stop being so scared to have those difficult conversations and say like, I remember I called my mom up. Well, during the course of that time, I would get invited to Christmas parties. I would get invited to Thanksgiving. I would, but it was always like, oh, if you're going to come, you're going to come correct. And you're going to, you're not going to come here looking like, like a horrible representation of what a man is supposed to be, And so my mom had called me to invite me to Christmas. Joel moved here we started our travels back from Dallas on the 18th of December in 2014. And my mom had called me to invite me to Christmas dinner. And I said, yeah, I'll go. I was like, but I'm going to bring someone. I was like, I'm not going to come alone. And so she kind of stayed quiet for a second. And it was a little bit awkward. And then she kind of just turned around and said, okay, but if you're going to come here, you're going to respect, like the girls, you're going to respect the rules of this house. She's like, you talk it over with the person that you're bringing, and I will handle your dad. And then, we just showed up the night before to decorate the Christmas tree. Everything was normal. Joelle, my mom was actually making tamales in the kitchen, and she dropped the glass lid to the pot, and it shattered everywhere. And Joelle, who was already sick because of the, not sleeping, the weather changed, traveling from Dallas to LA, he was like, he got up, kind of sickly, and helped her clean up and stuff. And so my mom pretty much fell in love with him from that point on. She knew that, at least his intentions were always going to be pure, and he was always going to come, you know, be able to help out. So
now they can't get rid of me.
You've been together for 6 years, correct?
Yes.
So, Joel, when you both decided to start your life together, you know, you had some difficulties finding a place for both of you, and the deadline of Joel's moving from Texas to California, you know, was just fast approaching. So the only thing that you could find right away to be able to move into was a studio that was literally 4 walls, like a little box, right? And an open living space with no privacy for you two. And Joel, you had to drop your life back in Texas. I mean, you moved to LA with no family, no job, and now you didn't even have walls, no
Yes.
walls, right? So what was the biggest challenge, do you think, as a couple that first year?
The biggest challenge for us, I think, was communication. You know, Cristian and I had a long distance relationship where we text, we FaceTime, talked on the phone, but now we had to be in the same room basically because we didn't have any walls. We lived in a little under 600 square feet studio, and I left everything and had to adapt to his likes, his dislikes. He had to adapt to me, which were
not easy.
It's not easy. We're very different, and so communication was really tough at first. You know, like you mentioned, I came to LA without a job, so I felt that I wasn't contributing to the relationship financially. So that was very hard for me. I felt scared not being able to go to mom's house or a sister or my aunt's house to say, hey, I just need some time away. I didn't have that. And plus, we live in downtown LA where there's buildings, so there's no park or anywhere for me to go, you know, so it was really, really difficult. But communication was something that was really tough at the beginning, but we've learned to kind of just dance the dance.
Who's the most emotional of you two? Joel?
I am for sure. Yeah.
Cristian, can you agree with that communication was the biggest challenge during the first year?
It was. It really was. And I think also adapting to, you know, like, I mean, like you pointed out, Joel is very emotional, and I'm not. And so I think we both approach things differently with a different reaction. And so I think because of that, it becomes a situation where sometimes I might come off like the asshole, but I'm really not. I just process things differently, you know? And that was one of the things that we had to learn to do while living in a little box. And that was, to an extent, was really difficult.
So you moved on from that, and then you were able to get the apartment actually next door, which
yes.
it's you have more space, more of a living space, and you guys are comfortable now with a beautiful view of the city. But I know that your home, because I've heard from everybody else and all your friends, that it's like a model home. You don't touch anything and you don't do anything. So in quarantine, you have been forced to cook and clean and do the dishes. So who does the chores there in the house?
I do, because I like things a specific way and Cristian does not. So I take charge in that. Absolutely. Yes. A lot of our friends call our home the model home because nothing gets touched. We have everything, appliance, pan, spoon, anything you can think of that from Williams-Sonoma, we have it all, but it hardly ever gets touched. But now during the quarantine, I've had to learn how to cook instead of heat. So
he's given me a few stomach aches in the process. Not gonna lie.
Nothing a little Tabasco sauce won't take care of.
Guys, let me ask you, before you two met, I mean, you lived completely different lives than what you do now. Joel was into, I'm so sorry. I keep saying Joel, and then it's Joel. Joel was into performing arts. You pursued a career in makeup artistry, and you were a die-hard fan of pageantry. Yes. And Cristian, you were into work, into your career, into industry mixers, into your social gatherings with friends, etc. In fact, you did not grow up with a gay or drag culture at all. On the contrary, you were often bullied, called names, and even gay bashed. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, so I think a common misconception is that these big metropolitan cities like Los Angeles are, you know, were always tolerant. And that wasn't the case, you know. I remember being, 21, 22, 23 and standing in the middle of Boys Town, San Vicente and Santa Monica in West Hollywood, which is the heart of Boys Town. and having cars drive by and people yelling faggots. At one point I had somebody throw a water balloon filled with milk and splatter all over me. So it wasn't a very tolerant environment. Slowly over time, and you mentioned gay bashing. At one point, I was walking out of a Target store, like probably the gayest place in the world, and I was walking out of a Target and somebody hit me in the back of the head because they felt that they needed to exercise their disagreement with who I was as a person in a physical manner. And it was not okay. I've always approached things from a place of respect. And I think over time, it's, the city has evolved where it's become more tolerant. I mean, Joel and I will walk to the store, holding each other's hands. We walk to dinner now together in the middle of the night, and it's a completely different world. But I didn't grow up with that, like, pageantry or gay culture. I almost felt, and drag queens, oh my God, forget it. Anybody that I felt like was highly effeminate, more so than I can tend to be, in some cases, but anybody that was highly effeminate, that drew attention to the fact that they were gay, I feared terribly because I didn't want to put myself in a position where I was going to be in danger, So that really drove a lot of my decisions early on.
It's sometimes I ask, if as a community or as people, do we feel that we have evolved, in society in terms of acceptance and equality? And in some terms, I don't think that we have evolved so much. Maybe we have become a little bit more tolerant instead, because we still see terrible things in our society. To hear these stories, it just baffles me. Who said "I love you" first?
I did.
Joel did.
Where was that? How did that happen?
Well, we, and some of our friends know this, we have a thing for Disneyland. So, we believe in the magic of it all. We were actually at Disneyland in one of the rides, and I leaned over and I said, "I love you." And it was perfect.
It was magical.
It was magical. It was at Disneyland, and so it was at Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean, yeah.
Yes, you had your Disneyland magic experience, all realness right there. That's great. So you guys do have a thing for Disneyland, and it inspires you in certain cases to, even in your daily lives. You take inspiration a lot of the things from Disneyland, and it's magic to be able to put things together. So let's get into some real talk and move on to the next segment, because we want to talk about that magic.
Yep.
Cristian, I'm going to be straight up with you. What did you say when Joel brought you up to the idea to do a preliminary for Continental?
Honestly, my first words were, "You're crazy." They really were. You're insane.
Yeah.
What? But why? What do you mean? What do you mean? Why is so crazy? What's so crazy about it?
So here's the thing. Joel competed at Continental in 2014. He was the first runner-up to Joey Taylor, who was Mr. Continental 2015. But it was, I think the unique experience that we have as a couple, but also as promoters, is that we've been on the other side, Joel as a competitor, myself as a partner to a competitor, and we understand the sacrifices that sometimes have to be made, and the amount of work, energy, effort, and sometimes that's not reciprocated from the people around you, whether it's a promoter, whether it's other title holders, whatever it is, So I just remember the experience that I had, and the experience that Joel had. And it terrified me, because I knew that if we were going to go in and do this, it was not going to replicate exactly what we had gone through. We were going to change it, you know?
Before we go into this whole Continental journey, because we're going to talk about it, the ups and the downs, and the good and the bad, and the needy and the greedy, I want to share from some Continentals what they had to say about you.
Well, what do I say about Joel and Cristian that, everyone doesn't know already, but, they're very smart, intelligent, loving, caring people, and they always strive for the best. And they definitely know how to get the best out of someone, and they push you to your limits that you didn't even know you had. And I just am appreciative of everything they have done, and I'm so happy to have them in my life. And I love you guys, and you guys know I don't do all this mushy stuff, so peace out, guys.
That was Desi M. Andrews, Mr. Continental 2020. Let's hear some words from Miss Continental, Vanessa Van Cartier.
Oh my God.
Hello, beautiful boys. Surprise. Joel and Cristian, you both are two angels on earth. I both love you very, very, very much. I just admire how passionate you are both about friendships, how life is in your eyes, and the kindness that you both have. I feel very, very blessed to have met in my life two precious souls like you two. Thank you for making me a happy lady and for making me always feel a special lady. I love you both very, very much, and thank you for inspiring people to be good people. Love you.
So these are just two statements from the Continental family, but I am
That's all crying.
You're gonna get it.
I am aware of the love and admiration that many people from Continental and out of Continental have for you. So I want to touch into Angel City Continental. So we know how it began. First of all, it was just a crazy idea. And then it gave you some kind of perspective into, well, we want to be able to not do, the bad experiences that we had, as a partner to a competitor and as a competitor. So then you embarked in this journey, and you're actually, and Joel and Cristian, Joel, you're the first one, a promoter of Continental who's a contestant and not a winner, right, of the Mr. division, to hold a prelim. So, Cristian, former Miss Continental Lorna Vando told you something that stuck to you and became part of your Angel City brand. What was it?
Yeah, so, I think one of the most amazing things, one of the most incredible things anybody has ever told me was never forget that this is all a fantasy. And, and the reason why it still resonates to me to this day and why it resonates with everything that we do is that, we often tend to forget that this reality that we create for ourselves, it's all a fantasy, and we wanted everybody to have the best version of that fantasy that we could create for them. And that's really been the driving force and the underlying factor in everything that we create. Earlier today, I was talking to Coffee, who's a really great friend of ours. And that was one of the things, that she said, just remember the magic. And that's really what it's about. That it started with this fantasy, and that's how it's always going to continue for us.
That's how Disneyland comes into play, huh?
Exactly.
And Coffee is actually watching. She's watching the show. Hi, Coffee. And she's gonna be previewing her show, her own talk show on YouTube, The Coffee Break, yes, tonight after my show, around, I think it's 9:30, 10 o'clock Eastern time, and 8 o'clock. Well, you get 10 o'clock my time, so you'll figure it out.
Yeah. 7 o'clock.
So we gotta make sure that we support Coffee on her new journey.
Yes.
So, as a contestant and now as a promoter, Joel, why is it, and Cristian, why is it important for you guys, for everyone that is a part of Angel City Continental, whether it's a contestant, whether it's any other entertainer, whether it's a guest, anybody attending, an attendee, why is it important for everybody to feel like a winner?
Well, I think ultimately it's, what we wanted to create with Angel City was a family, and whether you were the winner, the first runner-up, the second alternate, or the third alternate, you were part of this family that supported each other. Oh, there you go. See, now now you're really going to make Joel cry. That's what it really was about. It was about the experience. And there you have our entire family.
Yes, because we don't do it alone. We have an entire team that it's our family. So
yeah, and so it was what we create. We can't do on our own. It's like from the moment people walk into the doors at Angel City, it's an experience, whether you're a contestant, whether you're a guest. It really is about everyone coming together and enjoying themselves and partaking in creating this magical experience, not only for themselves, but also for everybody that's on stage. So it's definitely, it's been a journey, not easy at times, but I think it's one of those things where we felt that we needed to bring everyone together to experience the magic, really.
What do you do that makes this prelim so special for everyone? I mean, people rave about you actually won best prelim of the year last year, correct?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. And a lot of people really rave about how you run your preliminary, how professionally done is it? So what is it that you do?
I think primarily the focus is always on our people, treating people like people. That's something that's been really important to Joelle and I, is remember that these entertainers are our friends. They're our extended family. They're people that have given a lot to us in times where maybe one of us was feeling down, or they've given a lot to this community. And so now this was our way to pay it forward and pay it back. We remember that at the center of all this, there is still a human being. And regardless of the layers of makeup and costumes and hair that gets thrown on, these are still people with feelings. And so we try to keep that at the center of everything we do and really respect that.
Seeing so many, positive opinions and feedback about your values, about your professionalism, is a testimony that you guys really go above and beyond of your reaches to be able to, make it happen for a lot of people as promoters. How does it feel when you make all these efforts and many people are not appreciative of the work that you put in, and very often are very vocal about it? How do you deal with this negative flashback?
Well, Raul, we wish that everyone had a magical experience through the entire thing. Unfortunately, we have no control over that. But the thing is that at the very end of everything, in our hearts, we know that we've given everything physically, emotionally, financially that we can possibly do. And at the end of the day, we are satisfied with that. And we hope that everyone has an amazing experience through, whether it is with Angel City or with Local Queen merch. And like Cristian said, it's really about the people, because at the end of the day, everyone has feelings. Everyone does this because they love it. And we're all at the same end goal, to do this because we love the fantasy.
When you have received, comments that have not been, maybe the best comments at times, does it hurt?
It does. I think ultimately we try to remember that, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. Everybody's entitled to feel however they want to feel. And we never want to invalidate anybody's feelings. So it's really important for us to be able to not only address them, but do it in a way that's respectful, right? And then whether it's a forum where it's private or public, or, we're not very public people in general. So we definitely try to make sure that we always have a real concern for the human being at the end of the day.
What message would you give to any contestant right now contemplating entering your preliminary?
We're crazy perfectionists. No, I'm kidding. I think that what we're looking for, is someone who's equally as passionate and who's equally able to devote the same level of love, respect, and professionalism to their craft. I think those are some important qualities that we look for in when we recruit, and I think that we are satisfied, happy, and thrilled whenever we get those in return. And so far, every single person that has been part of the Angel City family has exhibited those in one way, shape, or form.
Why Continental?
Well, obviously, it came from me. I competed twice at Continental, and I was very satisfied the very last year that I competed. I was very satisfied with the outcome, and it's always been in my heart. So and Jimmy always made me feel like a part of the family. And so I always wanted to be a part of Continental in some way, form, or fashion.
So we have a big announcement to make.
Yeah.
And you are going to make it here. So the platform is yours.
Yes. So first, with Jimmy in the national office postponing and canceling the Mr. and Miss contest for this year, we have decided to cancel the preliminary of Angel City Continental for 2020 and continue with the new date of March 27th, 2021 in San Antonio, Texas.
And then
and sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. And that's going to be the Mr. competition that's going to be held in March of 2021.
yeah.
So
And
let's
you know,
repeat that again. So we have the Mr. What's the date?
March 27th,
Yeah.
2021, which is the fourth Saturday in March.
It's like the
Okay.
Met Gala, you know, the fourth Saturday in March. And then, you know, in hand with that announcement, Raul, we also want to announce, really, because we're super proud of this, is that, well, first and foremost, we will do the crowning ceremonies for Yesa, who's our Miss Angel City Continental for 2021, and Eve 6000, who's our Miss Continental Plus for 2021. Those crownings will happen in March of next year. In addition to that, we are actually super excited to announce that we've added an elite division to the Angel City Continental brand for next year. And because we recognize that our preliminary is actually the week before the national competition, we actually received special permission today from Jim Flint himself to allow us to hold the competition as a fully digital, web-based preliminary later on this fall. So we're super excited to roll out those details over the coming weeks. And, you know, we're definitely looking forward to welcoming Miss Angel City Continental Elite to the family.
And she will be crowned in March as well. And then the weekend after, we'll be in Chicago for Miss Continental Elite.
I might just have to take a trip, baby, to LA, March 27th, because that's going to be a treat. So we have Mr. Continental, March 27th of next year, Angel City Continental in LA. And also we'll be crowning not only Yesa Jovovic as the Miss Angel City Continental, but we'll have the crowning of the winner of Miss Angel City Continental Elite, which will be a virtual pageant. You know, so it's going to be the first virtual prelim of Continental in its own.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
And Raul, we'll have it in San Antonio.
It's in San Antonio.
Oh, it's in
Texas.
San Antonio, Texas. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's amazing. Amazing. Well,
We're
it's
very
cheaper to
excited.
get to Texas than it is to get to LA. So let's talk about, that's great. So I didn't know the full story of Angel City Continental, and I'm so glad that you guys take that platform and really make it an amazing experience for contestants that really want to get to the national pageant in itself. So so congratulations, because you guys do an amazing job. Let's talk about Local Queens March. So Cristian, you mentioned that you are a sucker for the underdog. And this is why merch started. Explain to me.
Yeah, so you know what? I and everybody that's close to us knows this. I'm a sucker for the underdog. And what I mean by that is if you're someone that has a lot of potential, that has a lot of love and passion, but maybe not the means to be able to do something, I'm gonna be that person in your corner, like, hey, let's make it happen, you know? And it's like, what do you need from us? Resources, time, money, energy. Well, let's see how we can make your whatever goal is come to fruition. And so with Local Queen merch, it actually started as a way to be like, hey, why don't we take a look at, you know, what the RuPaul girls have: t-shirts, fans, cups, you know, phone cases. Why can't our girls have that? Why can't our friends have it? And it became kind of started off as a joke, like, oh, well, we're just going to make stuff for people to have a secondary stream of income. And then it evolved into what it is today. And it's just been amazing for some people, you know?
Yeah, we've had 26 queens featured on the website. We currently have 22 local queens from all over the country.
Yep.
And Canada.
Oh, that's amazing. That was my next question. How many entertainers did you have on your roster? You mentioned 26. So that's great. And it's an ongoing thing. So how do we join this Local Queen merch movement?
So you can go to www.localqueenmerch. When you scroll to the very bottom, you'll see the Contact Us page, and you can submit a request then.
Perfect. Because of the quarantine and the situation that we're living, you know, entertainers are facing a great challenging time financially. So on top of everything else that you already do, you decided to produce your own live local queen merch shows, local queen
Add it to the
shows,
list.
right?
Yep.
So they've been highly publicized and very well produced, and large, with a large audience in viewings. So how much money are you making off of this merchandise and these shows?
None.
So I just want to clarify. We make a very small amount of money on each sale of every shirt, fan cup, phone case, whatever we sell on the website. We make a very small percentage off of that. And really the idea behind all of that was to develop more of a revenue stream for our queens and our friends. And, it's not a charity thing, but it is a way for them to really get a bigger return than maybe some of those more established, larger, printing places might be able to give them online. We're highly competitive in that way. But from the shows themselves, we actually make no money whatsoever. None. We actually spend, I spend probably upwards of like 15 to 20 hours a week. In addition to my full-time job, which already is demanding maybe 60 hours a week, of my time, putting together these shows and making sure they're perfect and producing them and making sure that we reach out to entertainers. And that's also in addition to the maybe 10 to 20 hours that Joelle spends just following up, recruiting, making sure that we have the correct Cash App information, email address, contact info. So it's a lot of work.
And here's the thing, Raul. A lot of people see us advertising a lot, and we want more viewers. We want people to share the videos. And in reality, we do that so that there's more of a probability for our queens entertainers in the show to get tipped more. More people, the more probability. So that's really the reason. Cristian and I have been blessed throughout this quarantine to still have our full-time jobs. So we only feel that it's the right thing to do to help those during these uncertain times.
And this is important that you touch that subject, because this is for people like you guys and for myself, who are fortunate enough not to have such high financial hardships. The giving back. We create certain platforms and we create certain channels for people to be able to get some kind of love from everybody else. It's the kindness that binds us together. And we have that in common. So this is, I applaud your efforts for creating these platforms, and I thank you for being, on this platform today, to be, giving me that speech, because some people sometimes need to hear it and I don't say it enough.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for having us. It's been an honor.
Besides all of that, you have also assumed the role of a mentorship and guidance to some entertainers, to help them with their growth and their development as an entertainer, almost like a manager or an agent almost, Tell me what that entails.
So, we do have a little drag family that we put together. And, we take our role as mentors, as people to be able to guide them, these young adults through some maybe, some pretty messed up things, and be able to provide them with an outlet to be able to be a sound off board sometimes, like, this is my idea. How do you think I can make it happen? And I think where that comes from is we were both given that opportunity from other people, on our journey to becoming adults to where we are now. And some of those things stuck in our mind. And so if we can pay that forward, and if we can do that for someone else, then why not,
Absolutely. It's always about helping the community for us.
Good. Besides your careers, which, they're ongoing and you have really high responsibilities at your jobs, you have the pageant, you have the traveling for work, you have the merchandise, you produce the live shows, you're managing some entertainers, and you still find time to do the cooking, the cleaning, the doing dishes, and all of that at home.
But that's only under quarantine.
That's only under quarantine.
I have one more question.
Every other night we'll order and we'll go out to eat.
Yeah.
It's still a lot, baby, because from that list that I just mentioned, baby, I'm already tired.
It takes a lot of organizations. If you want to go through my planner, you'll notice that it's hour by the hour, minute by the minute.
I'll probably get anxiety by looking at that. Why is it so important for you guys to give back?
I think so. I can speak for both of us. I feel like, we both grew up differently. Jamal grew up in a in a family that maybe didn't always have all the resources. I grew up in a family that did have resources, but I also have known what it's like to not have anything, right? I can give you a perfect example. I walked out of a relationship at one point in my life with nothing but the clothes on my back. And I've literally rebuilt my entire life from nothing. I didn't have a single dime. And so I think that it's for us, we know what it's like to be at the bottom. We know what it's like to be very successful. I mean, even in our personal lives, in our professional lives, we've had really great highs and really bad lows. But it doesn't mean that it's changed us, or in any way, shape, or form have we looked at it as a way to prevent us from being good people. And I think that's the message we always want to continue to convey and put forth and in everything that we do with our lives,
That's beautiful. I want to remind everybody that, we do this out of the love of everybody else. So our platforms are here if you want them. So please support them. Please share them. Please love them. Make it your own, because that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for me?
I have a question for you. I know that you and your husband have a very similar story of how you guys met. Who pursued who?
Oh, I did, baby. I got on that Instagram and I liked every single picture.
We're the brave ones.
Yes, absolutely. We're that guy.
You double tapped on each one, right?
Every single one of them.
Well, let me quickly tell you, because Cristian and I met on Instagram, at that time, he wore contacts. So I fell in love with his eyes. And then when I met him, there were contacts. So I always tell him, like, you tricked me.
All the stuff, baby.
Well, now I have an announcement to make for everybody watching. And I'm proud to announce that we don't have any details yet, but we are in the works of cooperating and collaborating Stream Miami and Local Queen merch. So this is going to be a collaboration that we are in the process of seeing how this is going to look, but we are merging our platforms to be able to reach many entertainers and whoever else wants the platform there to be available. So that's a great thing.
Magical journey.
Yes, we are. Well, I can just see this thing out from here. Thank you so much, you guys, for accepting to being here and telling your story and getting personal. And hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of more personal things from you, and more announcements and more great things. Just know that as for me, you will always have my respect and my support. Thank you for your friendship. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Congratulations to you. Talk to you soon.
We'll talk to you soon. That was Joel and Cristian from Angel City Continental and Local Queen merch. If you do not know the pages, make sure you hit them up. I'm sure you know exactly what Angel City Continental is and Local Queen merch. And thank you so much for tuning in, for supporting this platform, a channel just to be able to showcase every entertainer, your story. If you have something to tell, please inbox me. If you feel like I need to be talking to somebody, please inbox me and let me know what you want to hear, the questions that you want to ask. And I can't thank you enough for sharing the video, for tuning in, and for supporting everything that I do and that everybody else out there is doing. Thank you so much and have a good night.